Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our industry connection today. We are so excited to have Victor here to tell us all about Upstage. It's a wonderful program that you are soon to hear all about. Before we do that, I just wanted to mention a few things. Winston already mentioned this as you all were filing in, but if you are joining us on Zoom, we have the Q&A function. So if you see that down below, that is the best place to type your questions for Victor to answer. There is a wonderful upvote feature. So if someone asks a question that you need answered, be sure to give that an upvote. There's the chat feature as well in Zoom, but Q&A is really the best place to put your questions. If you are joining us on social media and watching on Facebook Live, you can type your question in the comments. And similar to the upvote feature, if someone asks a question that you need answered, go ahead and like that comment so we know it's priority, and we'll make sure Victor answers it as soon as possible. Before I pass it over to Victor, I just want to mention a few upcoming webinars. We have a lot coming up with ACT. February 21st, we have an open topic roundtable for theaters with paid staff members. And March 2nd, we have a script club session on kinky boots. So if you are producing kinky boots now or in the near future, and you have questions like, where do I find all of the boots? That will be a great webinar for you to join. More about that at aact.org/webinars. But for now, I will pass it over to Victor so you can learn all about Upstage.
Hello, everyone, and hopefully you can hear me well. I'll go ahead and start with a brief introduction, and so this way you get an understanding about who you're here to visit with today. I'm here in Chicago, Illinois, and this is where the home for Upstage is, and how I came up with Upstage. Like you, I was a person trying to get my show off the ground, and I was working a full-time job and spending more than 40 hours every week trying to get this show off the ground, and was running into problem after problem after problem, trying to find actors, trying to find the right venue, trying to find where to advertise, was I over budget, under budget, and finding the props and just trying to get the show off the ground. So I wanted to come up with something that would be a solution for some of those problems. And I always like to make this interactive. So if everyone could type into the chat, where do you fall? Are you a theater company? You're a playwright? Are you an actor? Or are you a director? Or if you're a venue owner, if you could kind of type that in. Okay, theater manager, awesome. So I was spending so much time trying to get this show off the ground that my show ended up suffering. So to the point where things just didn't get done. So I created this software to be one place that I could go to basically solve 90% of my problems with theater. So what I'm going to do now is share my screen. So what is Upstage? Upstage is a digital platform that connects theater professionals and then allows the public to use it to find any play within 50 miles of their device or their phone. So what are the theater professionals? That would be the theater companies, the production team members, stage crew members, playwrights, actors, and venues. So using our platform, a theater company can find the play to produce, find the venue to have their show at, find the people to work behind the curtain or to manage it, and then the actors to perform it, and then find the people to come see the show. So how it all works, and I see most of the people are program directors, producers, and so forth. Awesome. So what I'll do is I'll cover mostly things from the theater company's perspective then. So what happens is a theater company will create an account, and then you'll be able to add your play. And then it'll ask if the play is written by you or not. And if it's written by you, then you'll go to the next screen. But if it's written by a playwright that's listed in our database, that playwright has to approve whether or not you can produce their show. But then once the show is entered, it shows up and approved by a professional playwright, whoever that person that wrote the show is. Then it'll show up in your catalog of plays. And from here, you can manage this entire show. So in this case, we'll start with this one. You can edit the play where you put in all the details surrounding the play. Is it a drama? Is it a documentary? Is it a comedy? Or what other type of category this play falls under? How long is it? If someone's going to produce your play, how much it's going to cost, a preview of this play, and of course, a synopsis. Now, this next section, which is your rating, came as a result of going to a play and, with we'll just say a close friend who was very spiritual and elderly, and of course, then there's nudity on the stage, and it was kind of embarrassing. So I said, well, what we need to do is have a rating for plays so that the audience members know beforehand if it's appropriate for children and so forth. So once you check any one of these buttons here, whether it's got drug use, violence, or again, nudity or alternative lifestyle or any adult theme, then it's determined whether or not this is recommended for children. And then that rating will be attached to the play. You upload the cover, and then if you're looking for an investor, you would check that box. If not, you would ignore it. And then once you put this information in, and then it goes to the next section where you put in the roles for the play. So in this case, this play only has 2 roles here. And if there's more roles, you would go in and you would add those people and to the production. After the roles are added, then you add in the scripts. So, and it's always listed by act, scene, and then the title. And then in this case, it will also, when you put in the act, the scene, and title, you also are going to list what characters are in that scene. And then, of course, the script is listed below. Now, how this ties into the other areas. So when you, as a artistic director, or your programming director is managing the show, you'll have stage managers, you'll have other areas of disciplines. So you'll give them access to part of this production. So your light and sound guy will be able to click here, and he will be able to see or add all the light and sound cues for your entire project. You can either view them or print them. So once you view them, you'll be able to see them here, and you'll be able to add them. And then after they're added, you can then go back and print for the entire act and scene, all of those light and sound cues. And since we're adding every actor in that is in every scene, when you do your scene and mic schedule, again, you can view it or print it. You'll just come in to this section, and then you'll see, okay, for act 1, scene 1, there's only 2 actors. And then you'll just add what mic these people will have to basically make your sound guy's job a lot easier. And if you need these 2 side by side as you're doing your show, you just open up the Bible, again, done by act and scene. And then there's a side-by-side list. So if your light guy and sound guy needs to know exactly what is happening for the entire act, they can see it in one place. Now, auditions. Oftentimes when you're doing auditions, sometimes you'll say it's from 10 to 2 and you have no idea who's showing up. Well, what we wanted to do is make it a little easier for you. So when you add an audition here, and since our system uses Google Maps, you don't have to know the exact address of every location. You'll just put in an address. So I'll just say American Association of Community Theater, and see, it automatically will find your address and it'll put it in there for you. Then you can say what time it starts. We'll say 12 p.m. and it'll end at, let's say, 2 p.m. And then we're going to say that we're going to see each person for 15 minutes. Then we have to say what roles we're going to audition for. So I'm going to say the grandfather, the mom, Victor, and Victoria. And then once we submit that, now a notice goes out to every actor in the database that you're looking for actors. They can then log in and then schedule not only what time they're going to come, what role. So you will then get a list when you click on auditions as to who's coming and what time and for what role. So no just waiting to see who shows up. You can actually take a look and see who's coming. So how that would look, I know there's one in here. I think it's in this one. Yes, so this is what it will look like. So now you know that Ahmed Sobi is coming to audition for the role of Horace at this time and this date. So this makes it a little more easy for you to manage your time when you're doing auditions, and also it makes it a little more structured for the actors as well. And when they actually show up, you come in here and you'll click on audition notes. You'll say whether he's on time, late, or if he's a no-show. And then you can also shortlist the actor. You can cast him right there on the spot if you like, or send him a second audition notice. And then, of course, you'll put in your notes. He was outstanding as an actor. He was very believable in the role. And then you'll click on submit. Okay. Let's go back into here. Your props will work the exact same way. You can either view it or print it. You click on view. You'll be able to add in all of your props as to where they are going to go per act, per scene, and then where they're going to go on the stage. So we put in the location here. We put in every possible location that it should be listed on the stage for you. So all you have to do is just select it and it's there. And one of the other things I wanted to add to this was your budget, because oftentimes we're as creatives, we forget the money part. So I wanted to do something where you can see what your budget is. So when you click on view budget, you'll put in your ticket price, the number of seats the venue holds, and how many shows you're going to do. And when you do that, our system will calculate what your total revenue is going to be, and then suggest what your budget for that show should be, or our suggested budget, not your suggested budget, what we think your budget should be. And you'll put in all of your expenses, and then it'll calculate your total expenses here, and then it'll subtract your total expenses from the suggested budget and say what we think your projected profit loss will be if you, again, sell out all shows and you stay within this level of budget. But if you happen to go over the budgeted amount, this break even section right here will tell you how many tickets you need to sell in order to break even, so you don't lose any money. And then when you actually finish the show, you put in the amount of tickets you actually sold, and it'll calculate out how much you either made or lost for you. And then so after you've gotten all your shows together, and you're ready to go to, at least you got your cast, and now you're ready to go to rehearsal. So you would then go and add your rehearsal schedule. So May 12th and 13th. And then once you add that rehearsal, again, using, this uses the Google API, and I'll just type in association, and I'll say community colleges this time. And then you can select whether it's just a regular regular rehearsal, a tech rehearsal, a dress rehearsal, or a tech dress rehearsal. And I'll just say in this case, this is just a regular rehearsal. And then you'll put in the start time. I'm just going to just grab some numbers here just to put it in there. And then what time it ends. And then you have to say who is supposed to be in that rehearsal. And as you can tell, I can select the actors and then, of course, the stage crew who is supposed to be in that rehearsal. And once I select them, this now goes on their calendar so that they can, and they'll get email reminders so that they will know that they're supposed to be at rehearsal. And when you're doing your rehearsals, so now let's say you're in rehearsals, you can add your notes I see there were some directors here, or so when your director or stage manager needs to give notes to actors, you'll go in here, do it by, again, act and scene, and then you'll add notes for your actors. Like they either skipped a line, they jumped a line, or whatever the case may be. And once you add that here, it automatically goes into that actor's profile. So they now can then go into their profile on Upstage and they can see all the notes that you've given them. In addition, you can write your rehearsal reports all in here. And then you can determine if you need to send this report to someone else. But since it's mostly for the theater company that will hold on to this report, it'll just be here digitally. All right. So let's skip on to a couple other things. Your calendar. Can the actor access and view those notes? Yes, the actor can definitely can see those notes in their profile. And the lines of the budget be edited and expanded. Definitely, you can add, modify those directly. Okay. All right. So when you come to your calendar, you can see right here, it'll list in color as to what it is that you need to be aware of. Your auditions is always purple. Thanks to, I kind of made it purple because I love Prince. If you hadn't noticed, the symbol in the background, kind of love Prince. So he got the purple and he's first. And then we have rehearsals in red, show in blue, tech in yellow, dress rehearsal in orange, tech dress in maroon. And of course, any events that you plan on attending or creating will always be in green. And this gives you an idea when you look at your calendar, what you have to do for that month. And of course, you can just change the month and see whatever else is on your calendar. For theater companies, since oftentimes you are looking for submissions from playwrights, and this is one of those things where sometimes you get a bunch of paper when you're really not actually, and plays that you're actually not looking for. So what we wanted to do is streamline that process. So in this case, you can add what type of submissions you are looking for. And once you do that, every playwright will get a notice that you are looking for submissions. And they can then submit to you only the criteria that you are requesting. So if you are looking for a season or holiday play with a max of 3 characters, and you're only looking for the first 10 pages and it's a PDF, then that's what they will see whenever they go to look for submissions to send to you. And then once we connect you to, we then step out of the process and let you to handle all the final details. So we do not touch any of the revenue that happens from that transaction or any of the expenses. So we let that happen between the playwright and the theater company. Okay. So we kind of covered a little bit on auditions and rehearsals. So now let's go into the search factor. So for those theater companies that do not have a play to produce and you haven't put out a request for submissions, once playwrights who are in the database list their play, you can then come here and find a list of plays that you can possibly produce, and you can search for it by play type. So if I say I want a dramedy, it will only show me those plays that meet that criteria. If I want a comedy, oh, there's one, and then I can click on it and see, oh boy, that's an error. Okay, that wasn't supposed to happen. Okay, so let's go back to search. Let's try another one. Okay, this is what we were supposed to have gotten, which is who wrote the play, the name of the play, how long it is. Again, there's that rating again that we talked about earlier, and then how many characters, and then a synopsis of the play. And then if you're interested in producing it, you can then send a note to that playwright saying that you're interested in producing their play. And once they approve that request, the entire play will show up under your catalog of plays. The next thing is, I'm not sure if this has happened to you, but it happened to me. We were doing a show called Supernatural, and 30 days before the show went live, the lead character's boyfriend didn't like her being in the show, so she dropped out. So now we were scrambling, looking for an actor to fulfill her role. So now what we did is to solve that problem, I've created something that is where you can now come in here and search for either professional crew or the production crew members or actors. You can search for females by city and then by nationality. And we'll say African American. And then you can also search by skills. So the actors obviously are going to put in where they can sing, dance, or select these particular talents, because you may need someone who can actually do stunts or do physical or do a voiceover. And then once you select these criteria over here, it'll show you the person that meets that meets those criteria. And then you can just click on them, view their profile, and see what shows they've been in, how many people are following them. And then from there, you can just email them and to saying that you want them to be in your show. The next thing is costumes and props. You can search by props or costumes. And if it's by costumes, by male or female, and then whatever type of types of costumes that may be available. And then here's a feature that we added that deals with venues. So for those people that have to rent venues, you can now search based on dates that you want to do your show, and this will only show you venues that are available on those dates. So if a venue has a show that's happening on the 18th of March, it will not show up in this list. And then you can also segment it out again by city, and also whether you need a rehearsal space, a theater, or if you need a black box theater, or if you just need a cabaret theater. And once you select that information, it will then present you with the information on that theater. Of course, this is the Glam Slam, which is a place that Prince used to own years ago. And it'll show you how many seats are there, what it costs to rent, what deposits you need to make, and if there are any insurance requirements. And then if you decide that you would like to rent this space, you would click on book now, and then it would connect you with that theater company. And this here can also be a video. I just chose to put a picture in this case. So this way you can, as a venue, you can give people a chance to tour your facilities through video. And then the last part of the search feature is professional organizations like the American Association of Community Theaters, which I want to again thank you for allowing me to present this to everyone today. You would register in here as an organization for theater companies, playwrights, or whichever one that meets your criteria. but I mostly would think it would be everyone. And then people who are in the industry can now find you and not only find you, but then see what it takes to become a member of that organization. So if I would select theater company, I would be able to click here. And then it says exactly what it takes to become a membership, and then a description of this organization, and then how much it costs to join, and you'll be able to pay. And that money, then once you click on that pay button, it takes you right to the organization's page directly, and we don't get involved with the money on that part. And then same thing with workshops. So you would be able to select workshops, and then you would be able to now see a place that you can go and sharpen your tools. And then this gives you all the details about this particular workshop. And then resources. If a organization is offering, say, resources for people who are in the theater industry, like in this case, it'll be mental health, it'll be found here. So let's see, getting sidetracked with 5. Okay, so your venue has multiple theaters inside. Is there a way to have a calendar for each and a master calendar for all of them? Yes, each venue would have its own calendar. And is there a master calendar for all of them? No, there isn't one on that just as of yet. Okay, cool. And are there any other questions? Because I think we're getting down to the 5-minute mark. How does the technical support work for the site? Oh, I'm glad you asked that question. All right, right here at the bottom, you'll see there's this little icon right here. Once you click on that, either myself or one of my team members will respond to this, and then we will be able to answer questions directly, or you can email us and or call, and we'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions that pertain to it. So, and the other part that we didn't touch on is, how do people find your play? So your show is together, and then they would come here and they would either put in what day they're going to see a show, what type of, the location of the show, the name of the show, or they can just say what type of play they want to see. And then they would click on search, and it would show them basically your productions. So if you're running short on cash and you don't have the ability to market your play as well, this is one of those ways that we help market your play for you. And then once that is done, people can find your play, and they will see a video preview. Again, the date that your show is going to happen, the time, the location, the name of the play, the synopsis, again, that rating that we talked about earlier. They can follow your play, they can leave a review, and we also do a playbill for you, and it turns just like a book, and it lists, I guess, everything by act and scene. And what it does, it pulls the actor's image, their name, and the actor's role and their bio from their profile, and puts it into this for you. So you don't have to chase people down for their headshots and bios. And then, of course, we'll list the stage crew's information, and of course, any ticketing software that you're using. Doesn't matter what it is, they all have something called widgets. You would place that in here, and you would be able to buy your ticket all in one place. And then when people come here, they can click on an actor, see what shows they've been in, and then they can follow. Where do we get the cost of service information? Well, the cost of this is being offered to everyone for free. For the first 100 theater companies, it is free. But as you click on theater professionals or service members here, you will see that it is free to directors or production team members, It is free to actors, it is free to playwrights, and it's free to venues. Okay, so we've answered the cost of service. When you upload a performance for streaming, how does that work with copyright? Right now, we're not uploading a streaming performance just as of yet on this part of the site. So we don't handle the copyright for streaming performances just as of yet. It's coming because that's what this right here is for, upload streaming, but we haven't gotten there yet. And this will work not only nationally, but it'll work internationally. Last week, I was in South Africa presenting this software to the University of Cape Town and also at the University of Botswana, and it works there just as well as it works here. They just have a few different requirements for than what we use here in the United States. So this software will work anywhere in the world. All right, so I think we answered all the questions. And I want to make sure that when we got to the part where you were able to find a play and we talked about the actors, that you can also follow actors, or the audience members can follow actors that they've seen in your productions. What does that mean? That means whenever that actor is cast in another production, the people that are following that actor get an email on Monday saying the actor that you liked and you're following is in Dreamgirls, and the tickets are here, or you can purchase your ticket here. So that's what our follow feature does. We do not sell information. We do not advertise or do any advertisements as of right now, as far as to any of our members. We just don't believe we'll ever sell information or your information. And can we access your information once you're on our site? No. But if you give your username and password to someone, can they access it? Yes. But the way we set up our software is that your stage manager will be assigned that role. And when that person logs in, they can manage your play, but not manage everything to do with your play. So it's role-based. Okay, I think I've answered all the other questions. Is there any other things that I'm missing, Winston or David, or would you like me to keep going?
I do believe that you have covered it all. David, are you still with us? We're going to go ahead and wrap up.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Victor. This has been wonderful. And thank you to everyone who has joined us. We hope you learned something new today, and we'll give Upstage take a look and see if it's going to be right for your company. It looks like it can do a lot, which is amazing. So thank you again for joining us. Thank you, Victor, for joining us and sharing all about your product and service for us. I just want to do one more quick reminder about our upcoming webinars and also ACT Fest. Don't forget to register for ACT Fest. It's going to be a great time in Louisville this June. We have tons of performances, workshops, and lots of fun going on in Louisville. So please join us. It will be the time of your life. Thank you all.